Jesus said it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to get into the kingdom of heaven. Now, people have addressed this in various ways through history. Some have said, well, it was actually a rope, getting a rope through the eye of a needle, which still isn't very easy, but easier than a camel. Often you have people say, well, no, there was this gate in Jerusalem that was called a needle's eye. And so a camel, if it bends down, can get through the needle's eye. That may be good for tourists and so on, visiting Jerusalem, but that idea doesn't seem to predate the 10th century. There was no such gate in Jerusalem in Jesus' day. Rather, a needle's eye back then was the same thing that a needle's eye is today. And it's really hard to get a camel through it. I suppose if you squeeze the camel really tight, you can drip the juice through. That's where we get chamomile tea. No. You can't get a camel through the eye of a needle. And this was actually a figure of speech in Jesus' day. Getting a large animal through the eye of a needle was a figure of speech for something that was virtually impossible. And Jesus is saying it's virtually impossible for a rich person with their wealth to get into the kingdom. Now that's hyperbole. We see some people who did it, like Joseph of Arimathea, who basically lays his neck on the line by asking for Jesus' body. You see Zacchaeus, who is willing to pay back everything that he took wrongly and give half of his goods to the poor. But the point is, the more you have, and this would apply not just to wealth, it might also apply, well, it does also apply to scholars, our pride, our knowledge, and so on. We have to be willing to humble ourselves, and we have to be willing to divest ourselves of anything that holds us back. And the disciples got that. They said, we left everything to follow you. In response, they said, what will be our reward? He says, well, you will have eternal life. And you'll also have all these other blessings. You'll have one another. And you'll have persecutions. You'll have suffering for me. But it will be worth it in the end. So the point is, yes, there's a cost to following Jesus. And the cost is more for those who have more. Because all of us have to give up everything to follow Jesus. Everything we are, everything we have needs to be devoted to him. And even the disciples didn't get it fully. Yes, we left everything to follow you. But when it came to time to follow Jesus to the cross, they weren't ready for that. They had to learn that one later. Jesus is worth everything. Anyone who loves father and mother more than me, he says, is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves this or that, anyone who does not take up his cross and follow me, his or her cross and follow me. Jesus is worth more than everything we have. He's worth more than life in this world itself. But if we follow him, we have eternal life. We'll be in his kingdom.